Howdy guys, Rex here. So this is kind of where I'm from. This is where the family comes from. My grandpa came over here from the East Coast in the late 1800s, early 1900s. He was working as a coal miner out in Pennsylvania as a machine oiler. He was a pretty talented guy with machinery and stuff like that. So he had a good job, but had a lot of problems with strikes out there at the time. And so he got fed up with that. I guess some people called him a scab at the time because he insisted that he had to go to work. He had a family to take care of. And so he broke through the strike line. And after all the mobster business, he got fed up with people. And he thought, you know what, I'm going to go and be free again. And that's why we came to the New World anyways. And so he got on a train, came way the heck out here into the middle of absolute nowhere. A bunch of miles that way, maybe 10, 15 miles that way. He got off the train station and he walked south, I don't know, 15 or 20 miles or whatever it is, to the plot that he had picked out from the Homestead Act, which is kind of in that direction, just a couple miles. And he walked out here with a bag on his feet. And he had to build a house out of sod. He found a neighbor. One of the plots he picked out was on purpose because he saw that the name on an adjacent plot was a similar national origin, and so he'd at least have common language and culture with that person from East Europe. And so he came out here and picked out a plot and went and knocked on the door. The guy was so happy to have a neighbor from the same part of the world and shared tools, helped him build his first sod house and get the farm planted and get everything ready to go. And after that first year or two, he built up enough money and he had everything set up and ready. He sent back for the wife, who was back in Pennsylvania, I believe, and came out here. That's on the father's side of the family. But sometimes people prefer freedom from each other more than they prefer other things in life, such as comforts of living somewhere that's got beautiful weather. Now, see, to me, right here, this scene right here, this is beautiful. I could just sit here in a lawn chair all day, especially the summertime. Big old cottonwood trees, just listening to the leaves rustle. I always loved that since I was a kid. You see that? Got some, what's this, bullberry bushes here, okay? But to most people, just living in peace is heaven. And for some people, they treasure it above all other treasures, and they'll do whatever it takes to get away from the BS of the world. And this wasn't a bad option. Turned out to be a pretty good place to live. Oh, got the corner in the road. Better slow down. So you guys can see, when I'm doing my videotaping while I'm driving and visiting with you guys. Usually, this is the kind of stuff you can drive like all day and not see a car or anything, okay? And so I try to be mindful of my safety while I'm doing my on-the-road videos. But that's the best time for me to do my rants, is while I am on the road, because when I'm not on the road, I am a busy man with more than a guy can explain. So that's the one chance I get to really get a conversation in. So wanted to kind of share that with you guys a little bit so you can see a little more where you guys are coming from. But yeah, this stuff is just beautiful. You have to be a pretty hard-working, squared-away guy to survive out here before they had electricity, technology, supply chains. Anything you needed, you had to create yourself or walk 20 miles to town, or take a horse. And funny story, this is a funny story. When he first came out here, let's see if I can look out this way. But he was riding out one time after he'd been here a little while, and he was riding a horse, and he seen this critter digging a hole real fast, and he thought, holy smokes, what is that thing? It's just digging like to beat hell. And so he went up to it, and by the time he rode up to it, when he first saw it, it had just started digging a hole And by the time he got up to it, it was already well into its hole. And he thought, I never seen anything dig that fast in my life. And so he was curious what it was, so he wanted to take it back to town. He was going to town for supplies. And this is my great-grandpa grabbed it by the tail, and it was a badger. And it was extremely pissed. And so he swung it in circles as fast as he could so that it couldn't get a hold of him. And he just kept, this is kind of horrible, but he kept smacking it on a rock until it quit scrambling. And so he rode into town with this badger and took it to the local watering hole and asked guys, hey, what is this critter? I've never seen one of these before. Oh, it's a badger, you know, and they explained, oh, what the hell? Like, what, did you shoot it? Nope, I grabbed it. You killed it with your bare hands. Yep. So that was kind of a funny deal. Everyone thought, you know, Grandpa was kind of a tough guy after that. I don't know. I don't know about that, but some of us have that in our blood to grab a badger by the tail out of curiosity. Some of us just need to get away from the world and just live in peace, get away from silly stuff. This is another reason why a guy needs to learn to shoot far, because if you do see like a deer or something out there, okay, it's not going to be within 300 yards usually. That's like minimum. So wanted to share that with you guys. Thought you'd find it interesting.